Hello and welcome to episode 4 of RollQuests. And yes, we all seem to have got the wrong memos. I thought somebody said headgear. Clearly it was our health message of social distancing and zombie distancing.
Please, this mask is to protect you from me, not me from you.
Correct.
Completely.
Rhiv,
well, wait to start the show.
Emrys.
Okay, folks. Let's carry on from where we left off and take this off my head.
Yeah, I could take this.
Roll for hats, man.
Roll for the hats. At the end of last session, after spending quite a lot of time in the swamp trying to beat up 2 frogs, and realizing just how much you guys need to spend some time practicing, you've got out of the swamp. You've got with you a stomach and an unconscious frog on the back of a wagon, and at this point,
4 legs.
Okay.
One's been pre-kebabbed.
I was hoping he'd
garlic.
I'm sure he made a big note, stuck it to his monitor for next week.
Yeah, and
Tastes like chicken.
tastes like chicken. And Traeth, you're doing some kind of dissection to try and see if you can work out anything about.
Yeah, it's more mulching through what the hell this guy's eaten recently.
Yeah.
Rhiv is very much uncomfortable with this.
Did Emrys say he had a lit up staff as well?
He does, yeah.
He did.
Okay, so that's, apart from being an elf and not having penalties in darkness for low light levels,
It's
the light will help as well, won't it?
yes. It more comes down to the fact that although in Rolemaster there's skills for everything, and there probably is a skill for autopsying, it comes to the point whereby as a GM you've got to try and decide which skills are worth the players spending points in, based on how often they're going to be used. So we're going to kind of have to think of a generalized skill we can use for your autopsying here, because I'm not going to make people training autopsying.
Are we looking more for the herb effects in the contents of the
I want to look at
rather
what's in
than-
the content of his stomach.
I'm going to let you make
rather than-
several rolls to try and come up with a picture.
Okay.
One of them will be herb law. One of them...
Can we bonus him?
Not yet. Let's see what we get. So we're going to have a herb law roll. I want to have a straight reasoning roll.
Can I get some support from other smart people on that straight reason roll?
We'll see what you all get independently first, and then we can kind of get a collective idea.
I'm not going to put any input into this.
Okay, that's fine. If people have veterinarian, which I don't think they have, they might have an animal handling, or if they got animal healing, even better. But if they've got any animal handling skill, they can roll that as well. It's not an animal, it's just because it's a non-human autopsy. It'll help. But you have got animal healing. That's not too bad, actually, Traeth. So a 97 and a 74. Give me a straight reasoning roll as well on top of that, and that'll give you quite a good picture.
While they're doing that, I'm going to have a quick word with Lumi.
That's fine.
So,
Is reasoning open-ended, or is it just going to be a straight 100 plus stat?
Just roll it, and we'll see what we get. Okay.
But Emrys helped as well, didn't he?
Yeah. So I mean,
D20.
we'll come back to Ash and Lumi in a moment if you have a quick chat while they're doing this, because this will take a little bit of time.
Emrys.
So
Emrys,
yeah,
you rolled a D20, not
You
a
rolled
D1.
a D20, not a D100.
yeah, he did. Roll D20 plus 25. That's
my
never going to give you a good result.
That's wine.
Well done, Traeth.
Even think about that.
Okay. We'll see what Emrys is in a minute, but Traeth, you've got quite a good overall picture anyway. Okay.
Wow.
That's enough for me to give
Crikey.
Traeth an image anyway. So
I'd like to point out he rolled better with his D20 than he did with
Yeah.
the
I was going to say,
I
yeah.
did see. So Traeth,
True story.
This is going to take you probably the biggest part of 20 minutes.
Can you do this on the wagon ride to
We can.
I'd rather do it whilst not moving, but yes, I could.
You
No
could. It's
problem,
only
we won't
looking
move.
inside the stomach, really. So yeah, you could. It's nowhere for it to go. All you managed to work out from having a look inside the stomach is it hadn't eaten anything, which is not what you were expecting. You were expecting to find some kind of remains of what it had potentially eaten that it was digesting to cause this effect. But the only things you can find in its stomach are things you'd expect it to find. Maybe some small, very small insects, some plant life, just the stuff that's normal. There's nothing in there when you look at it that doesn't look out of the ordinary. So there's all fine stuff. The stomach is not inflamed. Everything looks absolutely fine with this stomach. There's not any problem with it at all. It looks healthy.
Right.
For a frog.
Perhaps it's been a fluid they drank, maybe.
It would
An
still
essence.
potentially inflame the stomach of some kind, but there doesn't seem to be any kind of reaction in the stomach. It looked reasonably healthy.
It could be something applied to the skin.
It wasn't eaten. You're pretty sure that it didn't eat something or drink something.
Nothing ingested.
No. Say yet again, you had good rolls, but this is a little bit out of your field of expertise. But even so, you're pretty sure that from what you know of animals and herbs, this looks completely normal. Okay. While you guys are trundling on your way to Tugton, I'll let Ash and Lumi have a chat. It started to rain, by the way.
Put my I'll put some of the helmet up.
Yeah, you reshift some of your armor plates very strangely to give you a better head covering.
Yes.
I heard up.
Do you not use a weapon, Lumi?
No. I have nothing.
Well, I wouldn't say nothing. You appear to be well versed in using your fists.
I think I'm a bit out of practice.
I think I too am not as practiced. This isn't my sword.
Right. My fists.
Well, yes, I think you're just a little bit rusty then. Maybe we could perhaps spar. Is that the term?
Yeah.
We don't use that term in my clan. We tend to use the term beat somebody up. What is your Lumi? I'm sorry to call you just Lumi. Do you have a full name? Is it longer? Do you have a family name or something?
Just Lumi.
Just Lumi.
Do I have a surname?
Sure.
Sure.
I just got to check your background for you. I mean, we'll come to that in a moment. Okay. I mean, you can have a check of it yourself while I'm going through this.
It seems that your people have not very much. I mean, my mother gave me the name of Ashashishe, which means something. It means crow in my family's language, but call me Ash. But my clan, now they call me Koigriach, which is not a pleasant name, but call me Ash.
See. Our family, guess that we don't work like that.
Extended clan? Looking at your face, I would say not.
No.
No,
Not to worry. Really. If you're uncomfortable speaking about such things,
I'm not sure how other people work. Other clans, like you say. We kind of just have a family. We're all family. If that makes sense.
It does. I mean, technically, the clan that I am with is mostly an extended family, but my people, my parents are from, and my siblings, we're from outside of the clan. We are part of the clan now, but I am making a name for myself in the clan as best I can, but
Mm.
yours sounds more like a closer knit family, shall we say?
Sort of.
I didn't mean to pry. If it is something that is,
It's not private. It's just not something I ever thought about before.
it is your norm. That is fine.
Yeah, I've never known anything else really.
Understandable.
Mm.
Yes, I think our fight against the frog people, whatever they are called, has proven that we are perhaps a little rustier than we expected. I think we are going to have to step up our game. In future, I will not step in to protect you. It was just my protective nature. I apologize if I have maligned your skills.
I understand why. You just my monkey stance is a bit.
Monkey?
Yeah.
Monkey. Is that
Kind
a
of
creature or a
animal.
person?
It's an animal.
Ah, okay, fair enough. Is it a riding beast?
It is not.
Okay. Well, your monkey stance. If I ever see you do that again, I will know that you are going to belabor somebody with your fists and feet, and I will not stand in your way.
Thank you.
Once again, my apologies for. I did not mean any. I did not mean any insult to your skills.
Fine, fine.
Do you think they finished back there? It smells.
Oh, this is horrible! Why did you make me do this?
Rhiv, can you hold this in your hand for me for a moment?
And I hate to interrupt you all, but at this point, just as you're finishing your autopsy, and you haven't really had a chance to explain to everybody what your findings were, but you hear the tolling of a bell coming from the village of Tugton as you approach.
Oh.
Ho, bell.
Yes.
But for whom does it toll?
Do you want to do something
How
about
many
that?
times does it
Creature.
chime, Tone?
It's continual.
What does
Oh.
that mean?
That somebody's approaching. Possibly us.
Well,
Or
that makes sense.
possibly frogs attacking it from the swamp.
Are you taking the
I don't
line
know about-
into the swamp, into the town with you?
Uh,
I
Well,
don't know about the rest of you, but I don't like the sound of it at all.
Well, it is better than spending a night out in the swamp. It is getting dark and wet and smelly.
that's a good point, actually.
You two need a wash.
Yes, Traeth starts getting undressed and uses the rain to start washing.
Okay.
Well, just to recap, 2 episodes ago, you were going to take the deerskin armor and try and put that on yourself.
I think I will do that once I have had a chance to wash some clothes off.
Yeah.
Wash some of the dirt off.
So you approach Tugton from
Grapple off
the northwest, stroke north as you're coming down. And it's the only real way into the village, or the main way in, without just coming in between people's houses, which would be a bit rude.
That way, yeah?
Yeah, you normally would. The only obvious way in, if I start pinging the map, would be to swing in to the north.
So you mean, as we look at the map, go to the left, toad in.
Yeah, toad leg in.
My ping's not working for some reason.
Click and hold.
Yeah, I know. So
There we go.
yeah, correct. So you're coming in really from there. You could go further around, but it is a little point. The only option you've got is to come in past the granary up here.
Which way is quicker from the way we're heading in if the bell is tolling?
To be honest, what you've got on the picture, and by the way, to the audience, all of the images for the maps are available to download. I'll put a link in all of the comments so that you can download all these maps and zoom in and have a look and see what the players are looking at a lot closer detail. The houses and things you see on some of these village maps are really the core of each of the villages. They are outlying little farms and homesteads slightly further out, and you would be going through some of their land if you come in direct, and the ground wouldn't necessarily be compact enough for the wagon. your safest route would be to swing more towards the Toad Leg Inn, not to come in from the main road. You don't need to go that far out. The ground looks okay, but yeah, you'd want to swing in a lot further to the north, where my original ping was by here. That's your best entrance.
So in between the Toad Leg Inn and Tugton Cooper's.
Yes.
Okay.
Clang, clang.
Did anybody want to dismount and go and see what's going on there? Like run in like a hero? I'm only asking because I thought it should be asked.
What are you doing about the frog?
Members of the group.
Going to hopefully find out what's affecting him and causing the madness.
So what was that, Rhiv?
No, I'm just looking at people.
If you want a runner, then I suppose I would be the fastest, but why?
There is a bell tolling in the town. Is not a bell the sign of danger? Or celebration?
A bell is a sign of many things. People getting married, bad things happening, more bad things happening, and the time.
Rhiv can give me a streetwise roll if he wishes for this area.
Do you want me to give you a streetwise? Yeah.
Hang on a sec, guys.
Roll.
Well, one at a time first. So Rhiv first. Streetwise, please.
Streetwise.
Emrys, what your question was?
Are we in sight of the town?
You're probably no more now than 50 meters from where I was pinging.
We might be the problem. We might be the cause of the bell, is all I'm thinking, perhaps.
I think we should just carry on as normal, maybe.
On a 51, I don't want to give too much background away, but Rhiv doesn't come from a place that far from here, so he would know very much how these communities work. There's no bells for weddings. That would normally be some kind of get the militia up kind of alarm. Something's going wrong. However, as you're discussing this and Riv's thinking about it, the bell stops.
Oh.
Keep on trudging.
So you still riding in with your cart? Yeah.
Are we actually all on the cart, or are we some leading it or some on it? What?
Originally, there was 3 on the front. 2 of you were in the back under tarpaulin. There's also 4 large barrels empty, and there is a dead frog.
Happy to
unconscious frog.
Perhaps join Traeth if we're going to look for some herbs on our last trek towards the town.
The whole time you were doing that, the autopsy was going on.
I guess Ash.
Okay.
Lumi
Yeah.
driving.
Yeah, I got animal handling and riding, so myself and Lumi were at the front, I suspect.
Yeah, we were doing something in the back.
So as I said, Traeth didn't actually have a chance to tell you the results of the autopsy because it was at this point that the bell, and then your discussions, and then the bell has stopped, and you're 30 meters outside of town.
So what about?
I'm pretty sure it's not something that they've eaten. There's nothing in their stomachs like mushrooms or any leaves or stones or anything that would make me think it's something they've eaten. I wonder if it could be something that maybe came through the skin or something in.
Do you find it odd that they have nothing in their stomach?
Oh, they've got bits in their stomach, the usual kind of things, half digested, bits of fly, etc., and Riv's hand.
Now.
The odd four-poster bed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was some gold in this one's intestine. Rhiv?
What do you mean there was no gold?
You stinking thief.
So we're still taking the live one in with us then.
But
I want to see. I'm not going to strip him naked on the back of a cart and see if he's got any scars or bits where it could have gotten into his skin.
But Rhiv,
Traeth, might I interrupt here?
Interject.
I'm not sure that bringing a frog person, into the middle of a town is necessarily a good idea.
Right.
Crossed.
Can before anybody else make some assumptions a sec, can I get both Rhiv and Emrys to give me a monster lore surface roll? Rhiv, you do not have this skill, but I'm giving you plus 20 in it.
Oh, okay. So it's just a D100 plus 20, yeah?
Yeah, well, Emrys, sorry, mate, not your specialty, frogs. You might have a book on it, though, Emrys, but that'll take time. Rhiv, is that your roll?
That is indeed my roll, 63.
Okay, where you come from originally, there are frog folk in the swamps by there too. They're not dangerous. They don't have a community whereby they have gold and they don't use coinage and and trade with people as such. They tend to stick to themselves in little sort of like swamp villages where the only time they train in any kind of weaponry is just to keep away crocodiles and things. They're not a dangerous kind of subspecies. They're not the brightest things in the world, but they're not dangerous. So when people usually see a frog folk, they don't usually panic or worry about it because they don't usually cause harm to anybody.
Yeah.
So but Rhiv, the important part here is person, not frog. This is a person who's been affected by something, as Emrys identified, that is affecting their mind. Why does it matter if they're a frog or if they're an elf or if they're a human?
I invite you to take a very brief look.
Here it is. Here it is.
That here town. Any of them frogs, do you think?
Well, nobody on this wagon. Well, actually, 1/6 of the people on this wagon are a frog.
Yes, but people aren't so... What would the word be?
It's a tricky thing, that map.
To the sight of a frog person, human thing, whatever it is, I think they might just be a little bit unnerved.
But
really.
They live right next to where the frogs came from.
Maybe they
actually encounter them that frequently.
Well, maybe that's because the frog people don't like people that think of them as not people.
Maybe they will know something about this. Maybe they have encountered this madness that has infected these creatures.
Emrys is trying to wave a book at you at the moment.
Nice, that's impressive, Emrys.
Emrys has actually managed to find a book in his bag. And in it, on one of the pages, he actually does have a picture of something that
dragons and frogs. I didn't realise it was in the back in the subtext.
Dragonkin and their frog folk. It does.
Hang on. I'm Rolemaster here, yeah, not RuneQuest. I just needed to ascertain that fact.
RollQuests, RuneQuest, hey. So he waves this picture inside this book that looks very much like these kind of frogs. It has got quite a bit of I don't know, rough description and a little bit of their lifestyle in there. It backs up what Rhiv says. Nowhere in there does it seem to go into any details with regards to any kind of military organization, offensive attacks, how they organize themselves in an aggressive manner. There's nothing in there like of that. It just basically goes into some, to be honest, rather useless descriptions of how they mate and live and not really a lot of use for your circumstance, but nothing in there that speaks of danger.
So in other words, they're not normally this aggressive.
Another good reason to try and get him fixed then.
Indeed, so they're not normally this aggressive, Tony.
Me? No.
Yes, you, Tony.
No. Did you get that, Craig? Okay. You're just sitting there.
Not me, Craig. You, Tony.
Yes. So yeah, are you actually going to continue taking the wagon into town? Yeah. You can see that off on the one side. Oh, hang on, people have got hands in the air.
I do not know whether as Rhiv has said, would it be wise to bring this creature into this environment? I do not think it would bode well, perhaps, for not only us, certainly not for this creature. And as much as I like a frog's leg or two,
They come in pairs.
I don't think it would be wise to bring
Why
this
is
in.
everybody so against bringing a poor, mentally affected creature into town where we can actually cure it and possibly speak to some of the locals and find out about him?
Because I do not think the locals would be very...
Might I interject for a very brief moment in this conversation? Not everyone, especially of humankind, is as open-minded as yourself.
Well,
They will
that's
see a
because
creature, they will presume it to be not good, and will probably attack it and maybe us. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I particularly would rather not having to try and fight off a town. That seems a bit of a stretch, considering we struggled against 2 frog people.
And we are supposed to be here, incognito,
Like,
just picking up some ale.
but he
Do
needs
not
our
forget
help.
why we're here.
Maybe you should
Let him go.
get some
Back to the swamp.
information
Do any of you speak frog?
from the inn, from these people,
Ribbit?
locals.
I will wait with the frog person on the actual cart then if you want to go into the inn. I'm happy to wait out here if you
Right.
want to head in and find out if they have truck with frog people or not.
Yeah.
Perhaps it would be wise to ask those questions first, yes.
Okay.
Keep him undercover in the back of the wagon.
It should be relatively easy with your animal healing roll you made earlier on to continually either subdue this thing or to find sufficient ways to try and tie him up with what limited equipment you've got on the wagon.
I was just going to wrap him in the tarpaulin.
Yeah, but you didn't want to kill him, so you
No.
didn't know how much damage that would do suffocation wise to it as well, and
I
how
don't-
long it could be out of water and all the rest of the stuff. At the
water,
moment, Lumi
yes.
is going ahead into the village and the inn. Is anybody else going with Lumi? Ash, Rhiv.
Mhm.
So, is Emrys, you staying with Traeth, or are you going to go in?
I think 3, and I will stay with Traeth, yes.
Right. Okay. So the 2 of you can stay with Frog Folk. Between the 2 of you, and you're both pretty intelligent folk, you can come up with ways to make sure you can keep this thing alive but unconscious, or subdued at least. It is in a bad way. Say it's got a crossbow bolt stuck in it.
Well, try and fix him up and give him some herb
Yeah,
to
we can
chew.
come into that in a minute. But yeah, he's taking a bit of a battering. And he is badly bruised.
Next level up.
Yes,
That's
next
really
level up
bad.
from battering is the beatering.
Beatering is really bad.
It's bad.
But you don't think any of the damage you took is life threatening. So yeah, you think you should be able to keep it alive. You're not expert with that creature, but you should be able to keep it alive. Okay, the 3 of you head into town, or head into the village. It's been a little while since that bell stopped because you all spent a little bit of time chatting. By the time you actually come around the side of that inn and look down towards the swamp, that main street, you can see at the end of it, there is a huddle of people all crowded around something. Some people you think are crying. Some of the crowd are dispersing a little bit. Whatever it was is finished. But you can, if you wish, continue on into the inn, or you can head down to the crowd.
Let
Do you
us head
see on the
down.
map
This does
that,
not bode well.
Where
So-
roughly are we talking here?
So the crowd of the people are right here.
There, okay. Right, I got you.
This does not bode well. Shall we head over there?
Probably not a bad idea.
So the 3 of you head on down. As you approach, you can see that there are what appears to be 2 dead frog folk on the ground. They have been filled full of crossbow bolts and
And that's how
potentially
it's
other
done.
wounds. There are 2. You could call them guards, but I suppose they're more of kind of like a local militia. In some very basic leathers at best, that seem to be very proud of their work and kind of like cheering themselves on a little bit, mainly to calm down the nerves of just surviving the combat they really just had. But there's also a woman crying. It looks like a man, an oldish man, has been injured by these frog folk, but the man looks alive. He is sat up. He doesn't look at all well, but he is actually sat up and talking with the woman. Other than that, there's roughly about 12 bystanders just standing around, muttering to themselves. They take a little bit of a look at the 3 of you as you approach. Some of them will look twice because you're clearly not from the village. You're outsiders.
From around here.
But they're not that bothered.
I lurk my way, so I'm not seen.
They're not that bothered. You know the area of the Lawless Lands enough to realize that over the last few years, a lot of refugees in various parts of the world have fled this direction anyway. So they're used to seeing a whole mix of strangers come and go at this part of the world. So 3 other strangers doesn't really bother them that much. What do you want to do?
Approach them.
I think I'll hang back, actually, and just observe the situation as it unfolds.
To see if I can help the person that was injured, maybe?
Yes, no problem. As you get closer, embarrassingly, you realize it's not a man, it's actually a woman. It's just they're dressed in very poor rags and very dirty kind of complexion. They've been pushed into the mud a bit and have got a few minor cuts from, you think, some spears that these frog folk were using. They've clearly just come into the village and just attacked some random people as they came in. The 2 guards, they quite happy enough with their work. They're starting to brag about it a little bit now. They're starting to tell the people about, how quickly they got here and, they saved the day. And did you see how Bob took him down? And the other guy's kind of going, oh yeah, Iska, you were great. That crossbow bolt you got him, and they're just basically bantering a little bit out. You can tell it's mainly because they're still very nervous, but they're kind of getting past it.
Well, ho there.
Some of the... Oh, are you talking the guards, the injured people, or the people just generally milling around?
I'm talking to the ones, the obvious fighters, because they've killed somebody.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hi! They see you with all your armor on and immediately kind of shrink back a little bit, being a little bit intimidated by the size of you compared to them. But they're still kind of like, oh, yes, hi, stranger. It's okay, they're dead. Don't worry. We've taken care of it.
Do you have trouble with these often?
They look at each other. They look at you. No, we've never had them attack ever. But when they did, we were there.
Indeed, you have done a stalwart job. Lumi.
Job.
Lumi, is there anything you can do for that person, did you say?
You got a first aid check if you wish.
We have also had some problems with these creatures.
Oh, nice roll. We'll come back to Lumi's roll in a minute. The guards look at you and, I mean, they can see how well you're dressed and the huge sword you're carrying. Compared to them, they've got... You can tell that they use short swords, but just from the coloration of them, they're probably just pig iron. They're not even like a low steel. It's lucky they can cut through anything. They've got light crossbows, and they've got a rigid sort of leather cowhide, you would have thought, or a horse hide, rigid chest piece. But that's it. That's the lot. They don't have anything more complicated than that. They look at you and look at your outfit, and they don't even ask anymore. Really, they just kind of go, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Is this a problem then? You say they don't attack. Is this unusual for them?
You can see you're starting to ask questions beyond the scope of these militia. They're kind of looking at each other, and you could tell that at this point they just want to go to the tavern and get drunk and celebrate the fact they've just actually taken something down in a fight for the first time probably ever. And the questions you're asking are clearly kind of giving you the attitude that's above their pay grade.
Not to worry. You go and enjoy your victory.
Yeah, victory!
Fighters.
Lumi, in the meantime, has had a look at Mally. Yeah, it took a spear wound to the side. Luckily, you don't think it's hit any major organs. They've stopped the flow of blood the best they can for now. They've just rammed as much stuff in the hole and stopped it from bleeding. They are taking Mally as carefully as they can towards the village apothecary to see if they can just get some basic healing done. She is in a lot of pain when they try and move her, but you think that it's nothing serious internal, so she should be okay.
Can I pick her up?
You can. Let me just check your strength. Yeah, you lift her up in both arms, and you cradle her gently enough that you offer basically to carry her, and everybody can see how easily you're holding her up. So they lead you towards the apothecary.
How strong do I gauge Lumi to be after lifting that person up?
Yeah, I mean you've lived a life in part of the world whereby strength, both male and female, is very much to be admired. Ash, it's strange. She's very slight in a weird kind of way, and her skin is very pale and seems to be doesn't normally have the same muscular look that you would expect any kind of human or even an elf to have to lift up somebody the way that she just did. It does look as though her form would not be capable of doing what she just did. So it's an odd one for you. You can't really gauge how strong she is because all of your reference points have just been broken by watching this very thin kind of person pick up this woman in a way that, I mean, you could do it. You could have done that, what she just did. You are strong enough to do that, but you look strong enough to do that. You've got flipping, arms like this, and she hasn't.
I'm hench. She isn't.
Yes. Okay.
Does anyone look particularly shady in the crowd that's currently sort of gathered?
You could give me yet again a streetwise check on that one.
Yep.
I won't give you a perception. Yeah, I'm just seeing how well you would get a feel.
Streetwise, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see
just a feel.
looking.
Never mind. I'm not paying attention.
It's not an attention thing because that would have been a perception of some kind.
Yeah.
This is just more of you just have this innate feel from being around villages in this area that there was no feeling of any kind of guild or clan or dodgy or anything weird. Not even your sixth senses triggered in any kind of way. You just felt that was just, if you were going to walk down a normal peaceful street, except the fact there's two dead frog folk on the floor, this was it.
Okay, no worries.
While you three are doing that, back on the wagon, you continue to keep the frog guy subdued successfully. He does come around a few times. As I say, he's not badly wounded. You pull the crossbow bolt out of his leg. You don't need to do anything major. You've not rushed. He's not dying. He's not hitting any arteries or veins or anything. It's just muscular. So you quite easily take it out without causing him more damage.
What I will do is I will try and give him some akbuje leaf.
Yeah, okay.
Just a
Help
leaf, a bit for him to just chew and.
Yeah,
You gotta push her in our party.
I'm wondering if he's actually poisoned.
You can give me a poison perception if you have it.
I do.
Okay.
So that's poison perception, and the other one then is a herb lore just to prepare the. Yep, he's definitely not poisoned.
And herb lore, the Archmage thing. It's not a difficult herb to. It's a hard one to say, but it's not a difficult one to actually administer. It's literally just a case of get somebody to chew it.
Akbruhaha.
An 82 for preparing the Archmage.
It's fine. Not a problem at all. So yes, as you said, you can't see any obvious signs of poisoning. There's no swollen lips or discolorations or anything weird. But
no,
he is looking pretty out of it, and every time he comes around, you put him back out of it. So as far as is his eyes dilated or is he kind of like slurring, then he's not even conscious. So
he's got hypnotoad eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of the above.
So, Lumi, you take her to the apothecary. The apothecary immediately starts tending wounds to the person. As I said, they're not serious. Other than the one person that's staying with her, everybody else now is heading to the inn for a drink to calm their nerves and to talk about what just happened. You can obviously decide whether or not you want to go and get Traeth and Emrys.
If Lumi's going with her and Rhiv is being shifty and shady around the place, I will go over to Traeth and Emrys.
Okay.
I'll follow the crowd back to the inn.
Yeah, you're going to the inn. Lumi, you can stay at the apothecary, but to be honest, when she's being tended to, there's not really a lot to see other than like when Traeth does a little bit of boiling of some herbs or maybe makes a paste and sticks some stuff on a hole. There's not really a lot of interesting things happening there. There's no magic or anything. It's just going to be making poultices and stuff like that.
Did you find out what their attitude towards frog people was?
They don't have interaction with them, but they've just been attacked by some.
Oh, is anybody hurt?
Yes, people are hurt.
Oh, do I need to go and help them?
Well, the frog people or the people?
Either.
Well, the frog people are dead, and the people are being looked after by their apothecary.
Ah, infinitely better than me, probably.
What are you going to do about that frog person?
I'm going to try and keep them alive.
Are you going to take them into town?
Yes, if they have an apothecary there, that's probably the best person to take them to.
Then let us sally forth.
Okay.
You all headed to town. There is a stable.
This is going to take some explaining.
There is a stables nearby. You can see that where wagons would normally pull up and tie their horses and stuff.
It might be easier for us to take the wagon to the apothecary and then back to the stables.
I was going to say, yeah, but you can quite happily take the wagon into the actual little square as such, and then go to the apothecary first if you wish. Okay.
So where are you, Lumi?
I go bad. I'm just heading out of the apothecary now. I can probably see you guys come in.
The injured one.
Well, she seems to be fine. She's getting her treatment.
And this is going to be interesting.
I want to take him in there.
They have an apothecary, and I can't figure out what's affecting this frog person, and the frog people have attacked here as well, then yes, because there could be more frog people in the swamp, and if we don't fix the problem, they're going to keep attacking.
I will lift the frog person up and out.
Okay.
And take them into the inn.
Into the inn?
No.
Yes, okay.
I shall take them into the apothecary.
And all things this injured and conscious frog person.
Yeah, I predict a riot.
So the title above the apothecary is Smilder's Herbs. You go into the apothecary, and Smilder is a bloke. He is old, grey beard, one eye.
His beard
that's a frog book. Is it dead?
No, it's affected by something that makes them crazy angry.
Okay.
Down a little bit more gently.
I'm attending to this woman in a moment, but I tell you what, I'd love to have a look at the frog folk if he's alive.
Yes, yes, he is.
Can you take him over to the jail area, the militia building, and say Boggart said that can you keep him like in a jail cell safe, and then I'll come over and have a look.
Sounds like
yes. Do you need any assistance with making her well?
Oh no, poking at the wound. Oh no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Oh, it's a little. No, I'm probably gonna change the dressing and just make sure there's no infection in there. But I think it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I have some spare unpronounceable leaf. I could be
looking in, yeah, there's a whole load of stuff on the shelves, as well as like stuff growing around here.
This is stock. You sell stock. I am offering if you want something to use.
You've got some you don't need, then of course. I'd love a few extra. That'd be great. I could use them on it right now, I think. Yeah.
I hate to say this, but it does grow on trees.
Oh yeah, I've got some growing, but if I don't have to pick them, I mean, they don't last forever when they're picked. That's the problem.
That's why I'm quite happy to use them up on her.
Oh my dear,
you know your plants, do you? Oh, wonderful. Maybe we can have a chat later.
I feel narcolepsy kicking in. I pick up a frog person and make my way out.
If you don't mind me saying, and I don't want to be rude because I'm an old man, like, but you look a little bit leafy yourself. If I don't mind you saying, a little bit.
I need a good wash to get the leaves out of my hair and so on. But yes, yes, I am an elf of the wood.
I think your friend is quite healthy.
If you say so.
And I will give him the couple of doses of Akbuja herb. Ugh.
Yeah,
what a horrible, unpronounceable name.
Yeah, he takes.
I'm going to rename
it. Yeah, they probably have a local name for it. It may be called like Stingwort or something. But yes, it's yeah. It's another Bob. It's always called Bob or something, isn't it? Yeah, the Bob root. But yeah, it's he takes them off you and.
2 doses there if you want some.
You'll brew them up before, obviously, they go off. Yeah, fantastic.
Brew them? No, you don't brew Akbuja leaf.
I mean, you'll prepare them before they
prepare.
He knows what he's doing, even if I don't. It's fine.
I'm losing faith in this apothecary already.
we chop it up and stick it in a pipe and smoke it.
It's fine. Yeah, they probably do. It's probably got other effects you don't know about. So the rest of you are then heading to the militia building, whereby
which also appears to be Governor Falden's militia building.
Okay.
Yeah, across the road.
So yeah, you go up to the militia building. It's a little bit more active than it would normally be. The village doesn't have a lot of militia. Although saying that, Rhiv, give me a streetwise.
Based on past history, no.
Enter key.
Based on his profession, yes. Rhiv, you would say that in all of the villages you've visited, you haven't visited this one before.
Mm-hmm.
For the size of this village, it is way more militia than you would expect. I mean, they've got a building here you can see as you're going in. They've got dormitories, they've got barracks, they've clearly got some training area. I mean, yeah, okay, they're not, top of the range militia. They're not like well skilled or well equipped, but there's quite a lot of them. For a village this size, you wouldn't really expect more than say maybe like 8, but they've clearly got more than that here. So it's a bit interesting. And as you take them in, the militia that are in here can see you with the frog. They.
I feel like I have to interrupt here, Tony, and say I'm still in the inn.
Oh, but you would have noticed that anyway. But you couldn't have told anybody. I do apologize.
Yep,
yeah,
that's fine. That's fine.
You get immediately approached by the militia in a mixture of kind of like semi-aggressive and semi-curious. But they stand off because you're carrying this frog person, Ash. They don't just lunge in to attack it. But they are kind of like all looking at you. Some of them have drawn their pig iron swords.
This creature is tainted by some madness. Our druid and your boggart has said to put him into a cell so they can examine it, because others of his type might be driven to madness as well.
Okay. If Boggart says yeah, okay. Stick him in here, and they quickly lead you to a back room, where they've got. I mean, it's mainly an open door with a little bad window. It's not like a big open viewed cell thing. But they'll open the door and they chuck them in, and then they'll close it and lock it behind him, and then they'll just like look into the window. Okay.
It needs to be examined by people who know better.
Funny, peculiar, yes indeed.
Well, if it tries to get out here, we'll push it back in. We'll push it back in. We won't kill it.
That would be a very good idea.
They seem to be quite chuffed with themselves that they know what they're doing, as if they've been trained to do this forever.
You
Clearly
are doing
not.
a fine job.
There doesn't seem to be anybody obvious in charge. They all kind of like just mulling about themselves, but between them all, they kind of like sort something
Who
out.
is in charge here?
Oh, there's basically in this village they explained to you there's a governor, Falden Jack. He is actually normally in the militia building, but he's gone over to the inn. He kind of runs the village himself, and he's the person that basically hires and pays for all the militia.
I actually look at the militia. I go, shouldn't some of you still be outside making sure no more attack?
Oh, don't worry. We always got somebody up in the towers. They'll ring the bell. They'll ring the bell. Don't worry.
Ah, that's what the bell was. Thank you.
In fact, Woof, it's probably your turn to go and swap out the tower. Oh man. Okay.
Ah, professional soldiery. And I stomp back out.
No worry. And everybody heads into the inn, I guess.
Well,
as all that
having
thing's
chatted
going
to
on,
make sure that the woman is well, I will follow the rest of them to the end.
yeah, I'll be trying to find out as much information as I can about the town.
Yeah.
Whether or not this place is frequently attacked and whom by, who's in charge, who the important people are, all that sort of general info about.
No worries.
And I will lead I will go to the inn after I've led the horses and the wagon to the stables.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, Rhiv, do you have diplomacy? Otherwise, you can just give me another streetwise.
Then I'll probably be a streetwise.
That's fine. Oh, the difference would have been if you had diplomacy, you would have found out who was in charge almost straight away, and you would have gone up and actually talked with that person directly at the appropriate level and gratitude and all the rest of the stuff. Using streetwise instead, you avoid talking to the main people. Instead, you continue to just gather information from all
from like the random basically.
a streetwise.
Okay, well
again.
that's going to be a streetwise because I don't think I have diplomacy.
That's fine.
Shocker.
Ooh,
And 99. Yeah, that's
Well,
fine. So you mill about. I mean, everybody's talking. It's not as if you have to try and find information. Everybody seems to be. They're over talkative because the village just got attacked by some frog folk, and this is not something that normally happens. So everybody is more chatty than they should be. They're drinking too much, and everybody is just nervous or getting rid of the after nerve effect from a fight or an event. So asking questions is easy, and you find out that the village is run by, say, as I said, the governor Falden Jack. He is the person, or his family as well, are the people that own the brewery.
they own. Okay.
Because the brewery is probably one of the most far-reaching little companies in the Lawless Lands, whereby merchants from around the Lawless Lands come here for the brew. So they actually are probably quite well to do, and they're used to having merchants come and go. As such, Falden Jack hires 2 groups of militia. There's the one main group of militia that he hires, using a little bit of tax revenue that he taxes the citizens, although it's very minor and nobody has any issues with the taxation he does because it usually all goes straight into paying for the militia. But just is enough to try and warn off would-be burglars and thieves and things. Don't try and steal stuff from here because we've got like a little militia. But he also apparently pays for a more skilled personal kind of militia force that actually protect the brewery and their family home. Those are slightly more skilled than just the village militia, but he pays for those out of his own pocket. Other than that, you get the information that they have had a building warning that something was not quite right in the swamps of late. They don't know what. They didn't expect an attack like this, but they do say that there's a hunter and his brother that live on the edge of the swamp. A Blake Bartow.
Blake Bartow, was it?
Yeah, he and his brother, William Bartow, have kind of been investigating a little bit into what is kind of going wrong in the swamp. What is making some things just not feel quite right and the animals not to quite act quite right. But other than that, there wasn't any issues until today, well, to this evening when they got attacked. This was the first time they've had trouble. I mean, in the past they've had trouble. There's always the historical thing of probably about a good 20-30 years ago, a massive giant snake came out of the swamp, and there's a gentleman that lives down the southern end or the southwest end of the village that his father actually single-handedly killed this massive snake. But nothing has attacked the village in like 20 or 30 years. I mean, they see the odd croc or alligator prowling at the edges, but nobody comes into the village, or nothing comes into the village. That's about a lot before everybody else turns up.
Yep. Okay. Well, I shall relay that information
when we arrive.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's
well,
quite
I'll soon
busy.
come in, I'll be like, and then I'll go over and.
Yep.
Here's an information dump. Have it.
Was that in Elven?
Was that in Elven?
It's a delightfully compact language, isn't it? So Lumi, Traeth, and Emrys will be in first then.
We don't have forever to talk, you know.
So yeah, you all make your way into the inn, the Toadleg Inn. You would have said for such a small village, there's quite a lot of people in here.
There's not much else to do in the village, is there, really?
Well, yeah, they're all here really because they're nattering about the event. Although you think because the night is starting to press on a bit, it's going to probably start breaking up soon and people are going to be going back home before it gets too dark. This place has got no lamping in the street or anything clever like that. So they're going to be walking back in the dark and they're probably going to be making their way back pretty soon.
Through his frog-infested village.
Sorry, Ash. The beginning of your thing, bro.
I said through what they think is frog-infested village, so they're going to be going home soon.
Yeah, I mean, there was one attack. There could be another. The guards are human in the tower, so their ability to see another attack at night and ring a bell is potentially not great. So they think probably the best thing would probably get in early, and then if nobody's wandering in the streets at night, the guards haven't got to worry about ringing a bell if they see something.
I will catch up with the others because I say those three will be in before me. Then when we go in we stride, and then we get dumped on by Rhiv.
Information.
Yep.
Person running the town, or do we not?
Falden Jack is actually still in here. He's quite plump, about 5'7", probably his late 50s. He's wearing a brimmed hat. You can all give me a perception roll.
General perception?
Yeah.
I prefer major perception.
I prefer lieutenant perception.
He's not as good as major disaster.
Right, so general perception, yeah?
Yep.
English.
That
My
word.
by the way.
Pardon?
Okay.
I messed up the wording, so I said something which wasn't correct. So, yeah.
Any more?
Yep.
Oh!
Ash. Not bad, Ash. One more to go.
Yeah.
General perception then, Emrys?
Sorry, he's in the middle of a book.
Oh, there we go. He is moving.
He's too busy with drink, clearly.
Okay. So nobody noticed
beneath
anything strange when they were looking around. But Ash, you do laugh to yourself slightly. When you look at this lad, kind of fat merchant looking bloke, you realise that the brown hair that he has is actually attached to his hat, and it's coming down from his hat. You think it's actually not his hair. He's bald, and he's actually attached hair onto the brim of his hat.
God.
Oh, dear.
It's better than a comb over.
No.
Is it?
No, it's not.
Yes.
Say no.
I am with Lumi on this. I don't actually mention this to people. I'm just there going.
No, you just think to yourself. You think that's not real.
Oh my god. By the
Look at the
When
syrup
his
on
hat
that.
sort of like tilts at some point because he kind of knocks something, the whole of his hair kind of goes.
do you think it would be wise to speak to him, seeing as he is the money in this place?
More to the
Where he
point,
bought his syrup
how
from.
much a room's going to cost for the night?
Yeah, that was what I was gonna do next.
Yeah, well, maybe we can make ourselves of use to him and tap him for cash.
Speaking of cash, Rhiv has ours.
He does
Ah,
quite a lot of it.
What? I've what now?
You have all of our cash.
Ha, yeah.
Don't make that noise because punching somebody in the face usually offends.
He'll show you how the two-handed sword works.
Yes, I'm not about to wrong someone with a very big sword or a stick, as you've proven yourself quite capable of using. I'll find out how much rooms are for the night very promptly.
Yeah. Okay. So
You and Lumi.
they've got a dormitory room whereby anybody can just kind of like crash, and it's 1 copper per person per night. Some people, you could even go worse than that, and that's just collapse on the floor of the inn, and people would just probably kick you and spill beer on you. If you want a room, they got some rooms that sleep 2 people. They're 1 silver per night, but those rooms don't have locks on them. If you want to have a room with a lock on it, it's 2 silver per night, and that's per person.
So for
Basically,
silver,
It's 4 silver, but they will actually charge you if 4 of you say we're going to stay and we're all going to just have the 1 room.
to charge you 8 silver.
They still charge you the lot.
Well, no, it's one silver per room initially. What he said.
Yeah, well,
But with the one with the lock,
get several people.
Or with the
they
lock,
will
it's 2.
give a key to each of the person that's basically staying in there, and then it'll be 2 silver per person. I mean, if you want to invite somebody in for recreational purposes that you don't want to have a key given to, then of course they're not going to charge you for that.
They have room for table tennis.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah, there's always room for table tennis, Ash.
Exactly.
You just have to play on a wall.
You don't think this village really has
recreational
have a
activity? I've
lot
nothing
of recreational options, I'm afraid, okay?
Right. Okay.
It must be chess he's referring
I
to.
think it probably is chess.
Uh,
So that's your most expensive, is a room with a lock, and it's 2 silver per person, and you'll get a key.
Well, Lumi and Rhiv are the ones sorting the room out, so it's up to them.
Are we getting one with a lock or not? I suppose that's the question. Do you care?
I don't really care. You care?
Dormitories it is. All right.
Room dormitories. All of us sleeping in a common room.
Fine.
Okay,
Sorted.
you're just going to all sleep in the common room with anybody else that happens to just come and go and decides that they don't want to walk home tonight, and they're just going to crash it in a dormitory for 1 copper. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So not got 5 copper for the night for the 5 of you.
Is
We've
that
got
the
like
person,
we've got
Tone?
like 40 gold in total. Maybe
Yes. Excuse me. Could you just hand a couple of silver over, please? Anybody else going to take a room? Right.
I'll share.
I'm happy to sleep out under the stars. I'm happy to sleep in a room. It makes no difference to me.
Knock yourself out.
You won't be sleeping under the stars. You'll be sleeping under the moist.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, Traeth doesn't mind it when it's wet. In fact, he actually kind of enjoys it in a very weird kind of way.
He likes wet things, does he? I see.
He's clearly happy outside.
He's part plant.
No, I'm an elf.
So, Lumi, Lumi, you're spending a night in the common room with everybody else.
Who's getting a room?
Is that a proposition?
Definitely. No. A room.
If Emrys gets a room, it's 1 silver for the room, and it can sleep 2 people.
That'll do.
Yeah, that's fine with that.
Room.
In that case, just 2 rooms. It's 2 silver.
I am impressed, Rhiv, that you are very frugal, Dharma. It bodes well.
Then if we're all going for rooms,
Precisely the point.
just get 3 rooms.
Well, if Traeth is staying outside in the rain, that's fair enough. We only need 2 rooms, but it does mean who are you sleeping with? Who are you sharing a room with?
Okay.
So first of all, the rooms, the beds are always singles as such, and if people want to put them together to make a double, that's fine. But they always provide singles, and people can do with them as they wish. This is not an expensive place. There's not really much in the way of any kind of sheeting. There is kind of like 1 sheet you just throw off over you to keep any bugs away. The beds are basically made of almost straw. They're not the most comfortable, but they are functional. Traeth, you would actually kind of better fancy the stables if you had a choice. But the rest of you, yeah, for 2 silver, the 4 of you can have 2 rooms without a lock.
I will very hesitantly hand that over.
Okay. He just
No, let go. Let go, Rhiv. Give him the money, Rhiv.
They show you where the rooms are, but say because they haven't got a lock, then they don't give you anything. They just say, "Yeah, those are yours for the night."
Rhiv?
Yes, that's my name.
Would you think to pay some money for us to have a decent meal? Please.
That's what he cares about. Okay.
It does.
I do turn the full force of my charm upon him.
You realise that you've only eaten travel rations and some stew from a bag and some other bits of chicken. Some kind of food would probably stop you from having negatives tomorrow.
Yes, or I eat your leg, Rhiv.
What?
There we go.
You could get yourself a nice evening slap-up sort of meal for about 5 copper. Same again for breakfast. So a silver piece each. You could probably get yourself a nice evening meal now. Plus just have a breakfast.
And some bogmog.
Some bogmog. I mean, normally bogmog in most places is about 3 copper, but for here it's 1 copper. This is the hub of bogmog.
It's just over there, that's why.
I'll drown my sorrows of having to spend so much silver at one night with several pints of bogmog.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, to be honest, it's not bad. You don't really want to know why it's called bogmog, but it's not bad stuff.
I'm trying to get friends that don't care what I'm drinking.
Right there.
We're going to have to mark those coins, I think.
I'm try. How much was it for the meals and drinks, Tone?
It's basically going to be 1 silver per person to have a meal tonight and then in the morning. So 5 more silver and, 6 more silver. Forgot about Traeth then. And everybody will be well fed enough that tomorrow I'm not going to be looking at any kind of penalties and things. You're all going to be well slept and well fed.
Right, I knocked the price off then on my character sheet.
Fantastic.
Right, Traeth, no. Rhiv, possibly not. Emrys, spooky as hell. Lumi, myself.
Okay.
Somebody's going to have to speak to the guy with the bad hair.
Yeah, I was going to say, you all got, I would say, a maximum of about 10 minutes to decide what you're going to do before I wrap the session up. So decide what you're going to do.
I wish myself and somebody else to speak to the governor.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless somebody else has a burning desire to speak to the man with the bad hair.
Bad hair looks fine to me.
That's the same guy. Governor Falden Jack is that guy. That is the guy with the fake hair.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
All right.
We could all speak to him, couldn't we?
He'd all mob handed up to him, that's no problem.
I don't know if he'd be too comfortable with a bunch of people that he doesn't know just wandering up and being like, we have questions.
I'm surprised he's comfortable with the hair that's sticking out from under the hat that it's attached to.
I can answer that.
Touch his head.
I can answer that for you all at the moment before you question. He is quite gregarious. He is actually enjoying the fact that there's a lot of people here. He is the governor of this little village, and he laps up the fact that he is important. So people talking to him, especially potential people from outside, you think you can just tell by looking at him that he's gonna want to just show off the fact he's in charge.
Gonna be my
What was that, Bree?
gonna be my thing that I have to go and talk to him.
Is it going to be your thing? Well, we're all going to talk to him, but please, are you a diplomat then?
Emrys,
I'm going to sit around, eat food, and look pretty.
if either Traeth or Emrys were to flutter their eyelashes, might get somewhere.
Lumi.
Wow. He hasn't even touched the Bogmog yet.
Lumi. Although several of you probably don't understand what is attractive or not attractive in her race, from a male perspective, she is extremely attractive.
Well, yeah, just purely as male-female type thing, she does appear.
Her appearance is very high.
Jesus, that's evil laugh coming from her then. From being...
She might cackle like a witch, but apparently her appearance is brilliant. I'm only teasing.
Okay, people in the group through with this.
Drinks in.
I will just go through everybody's appearance quickly for attractiveness. Ash is quite a hunk. He's quite hench, and he looks okay. Quite a nice chap. The old strange wizard. He's an old strange wizard. And that's probably about as much as you want to know. The very strange druid person. Most of you probably wouldn't consider the wood elf or wherever he is to be attractive, but he is striking. I mean, he has got some absolutely striking features in very well proportioned face. You would have said he's a model if he wasn't actually living out in a bog most of his life. Rhiv is just a bit of an urchin that really hasn't washed much. He's probably had several childhood infections that have pockmarked his face a bit. He's not the best, I'm afraid.
Whilst he was drinking.
Yeah, and maybe the beard he's got that's just started to come through is a bit patchy as well. It's not all really even.
I mean, he's really striking, like
Tony.
Quasimodo.
I don't think he's personally attacked, and I really wish you wouldn't describe me as my person.
For those who want stats, his appearance is 45.
People who are watching this at home are probably like, wait, you're describing him as a person.
His appearance is 45. So I'm afraid he's not looking like he's had a great life so far. But you think maybe in time you could probably smarten him up a bit. Maybe.
We need to push him off the top of the pretty tree and let him hit every branch on the way down.
Because currently he's hiding at the ugly tree and trying hard.
So back to the original question: is somebody going to talk to Falden Jack?
We're all mob-handed, but I think Lumi's going to be leading the charge there because let's hope that a pretty face can his ego.
Yes. So as the five of you kind of like approach him, he instantly sort of sees the fact that you're all from out of town, which A, makes him very interested and inquisitive, but also B, gives him a chance to basically tell some other people that don't know about how brilliant his little village is and the fact that he's in charge. So he comes over and says, hello, I'm Falden Jack. I'm the governor of this village, and of course, I'm the person and the family that we own the brewery and the Bogmog Ale. I'm sure you all are here to taste some of our Bogmog Ale. If you go to the brewery, we'll arrange for you to have some special tasters, maybe?
After about 4 pints in, we've had this conversation. Sure.
Fantastic. Oh, hello, my lady.
Oh, hello. Oh, not me.
Not you this time.
Is the sun shining in here already, or is your face just that bright?
No, it's Emrys' staff.
At which point he kind of like he hands you a little piece of cloth that he's kind of got to mop his brow and kind of passes it to you. Just, do you need a handkerchief, lady?
Oh, no, I'm fine, thank you.
Ah.
This is great.
So Lumi is just cringing on the spot.
It's okay.
Tanked.
Ash, it's okay. I have a herb for that.
Oh, good. Glad to hear it.
Like,
So,
I need more bog. Anyone else want a drink?
Yes.
yeah.
I'll take one.
I'm at this point trying to refrain from bursting out into tears of laughter, and I'll just take all the mugs and be like,
No worries.
over to the bar.
We talk to.
Yeah.
You run the town.
Oh, I am the governor, lady. Of course. Yeah, do you want to have a show around the place tomorrow? I can arrange to give you a personal tour of the brewery. And of course the family estate if you want to see.
That would be great.
Oh, your voice is so sweet. I love it. Oh.
Thanks. Thank you.
I got a bit broken up there. I hope that was thank yous.
Right.
So awkward.
I see Bree is playing at the exotic beauty role.
She's just giggling at everything he says. Clearly, he thinks he's having a great effect.
Is this?
That's all that matters. Keep him smiling. Keep him smiling, Luke. Have you picked his pockets, Rhiv?
I'm at the bar getting you guys drinks.
The perfect alibi.
So, do you actually wish to ask him anything, or are you going to wait until you're on tour tomorrow?
I think maybe we should wait until tomorrow. Maybe.
Indeed. Let us
Tone.
Yep.
Tone.
call it a night.
Here comes the core burglar role play.
Right.
Does he have his coin purse on him?
He would not only have his coin purse on him, but he would probably have it bulging in very obvious place.
Oh.
Sensation. Have you ever been whacked on the knuckles in Rolemaster? Have you ever been hitting the knuckles of the staff in Rolemaster?
Oh, this is going to go south so bad next week.
And I think with that, guys, we will wrap it for the episode.
Fine, I'll save it.
As you're all on the edge of thinking whether you're going to actually try and steal his coin purse or not.
You won't know.
Or whether Lumi's just going to sort of like bath over this guy.
It's fine. He'll be so concerned with trying to make sure she's okay, he won't notice the fact that
This is true. Clearly, she needs more Bogmog would be the answer.
Ploy. It's the perfect ploy.
Anyway, thank you again, all of you.
Guys,
And we will see you
getting
all
kicked out of town.
for next episode as Lumi tries to resist the charms of Falden Jack.
Can't she?
And Rhiv tries to resist the charms of his coin purse.
Yeah. Well, I expect the rest of you are probably going to ask questions about snakes and frogs and other interesting animals.
Oh, God, funny.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Yeah, well, yet again, thank you all to the audience.
Are we thinking?
Subscribed. Don't forget
everybody watch, subscribe, like,
Yeah.
pass it on to other
Like
people.
down below.
Like,
hit
press the
subscribe
button.
and the bell icon so you make sure you don't miss any of our videos.
Yep.
Yes.
And I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Are we thanking anybody?
Oh,
Um,
shout out.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Hang on,
Thank
hang on.
everybody.
Tone, did we do our Inkarnate shout out? the
We
map?
haven't done an Inkarnate shout out this week, but as you can see from our lovely maps, Inkarnate is what tool I used, and they are available online to everybody.
That's Inkarnate with a K, not a C.
Yeah, it'll all be in the comments, the links to
Oh, there we
everything. And
Marvelous. But I will say, Tone, these maps are so fucking pretty. And I hope I'm allowed to say that on here.
you certainly are allowed to say that on there. That's
Okay,
fine.
wonderful. They're fucking pretty.
But apparently
We're
on
not-
YouTube, I only have to flag it if you say the F word within the first 15 seconds of an episode. So in the last 15 seconds of the episode, I'm sure you can just do what you want. Within
Oh.
reason. I can always edit it.
We need to give ourselves that extra shout out to Dave's one fan.
Yay!
One fan.
Do people want another Hawaiian shirt next week or geeky shirt?
Do people want more chainmail next week? This is the question. Is it a full suit?
Don't go asking them that. 'Cause I'm going to have to invest in chainmail then.
You have no idea what's in my wardrobe. I could have all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's fine for you, but I don't own anything like that.
Oh,
Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Good night.